Hello again, this is Mike with Toy Train Tips and Tricks, and today we're looking at this turnout, this Lionel turnout that is rather worse for wear, but it's a special one, and it's one that Lionel operators should be aware of because it presents some special issues if you try to use it on your layout. This looks like every other 1122 turnout, at least all the dirty ones, that were made from 1952 all the way up through the end of the post-war era in 1969, but it is not. This particular 1122 is the 1952 model, the first year that they came out. Now, what was nice about the 1122s compared to the 1121 before it is that this is the first Lionel O27 turnout that features the automatic switching mechanism, the anti-derail feature. But unlike other Lionel O27 turnouts, and actually O turnouts as well, this one does not require any insulating pins. Most of these, the 1122s and switches that came later, you have to put in insulating pins here and here in order to create the non-derail feature and also to keep from burning out your switch motor. This 1952 model has that feature built in. If I can zoom in here and look, if you check out here on this outside curved rail, see there's a plastic insulator there and also plastic insulation there. And on this rail, it is there and there. So the insulated section is built in on these, so no pins are needed. Matter of fact, pins hinder the operation of these turnouts. So the upside is you don't have to worry about the extra pins. The downside is, if you notice, if you're coming this way, from here to here, this is all an insulated rail, which means your locomotive has to get its ground from this side, and there's a big gap in here. So you basically, from here to here, there is a gap in the power on the ground side. Or if you're coming straight, the gap runs shorter. It's from there to, we would pick it up again about there. So one, operation is kind of erratic. Secondly, has to do with the switch housing. The 1952 version, so besides looking for the insulators on the outside rails, that's the one clue. The other clue is the shape of the switch housing itself. Notice how this corner is squared off here. Starting in 1953 and all the way up through all of the later versions, this is round. And the reason for that is this version, you can't run F3s through the turn, even though F3s were soon to be produced and labeled as O27 locomotives. They would not pass through the curved portion of the switch the fuel tank catches right there. So be aware of that when you're looking for 1122s. Check out, make sure it's not the 1952 model. Now, what you normally find, normally this is lit. My light bulb has burned out. This one is worse for wear. But we have our 3 binding posts. Oh, my wires come off because I'm missing a nut. And this post is actually broken here. So, like I said, this one's kind of worse for wear. But what we have here, the first post here is the common that goes to your controller, which usually has a silver piece on there. Otherwise, you can identify it. Well, it's one of the ends, so hopefully you have the silver one. Otherwise, you have to figure it out by trial and error. And both of these have come off. Then these other 2 wires control the direction that the switch turns. All right. And I'm simulating track power here with my wires, and I'm getting nowhere right now. Hold on just one moment. All right, we're back. What I found was the ground post, the common post, is actually broke off inside. So I'm going to have to take this switch apart and repair it. But while I was playing with that, I went ahead and replaced the light bulb real quick so you can see the lantern lit up. Let's help that out a little bit. And ooh, bright light, ooh. And as you see, the lantern rotates, kind of, as you throw the switch to give you an idea of the switch indication. So that's kind of cool. So this 1122, you have the non-derail feature and you have a lit lantern. And those features would continue on through the 1122 all the way up to the end of the post-war era in 1969. But starting with the 1953 model, you have to use the fiber pins for the non-derail feature and to insulate these, which works much better. And you have the modified housing to accommodate your bigger O27 locomotives. So if you're going to use this on a layout, if you're using this on the main line, you are limited to the smaller O27 diesels, no F3s, no Jeep 7s, U36s, things like that. So you really can't use it on the main line if you're going to use that kind of power. But you could put it on a siding, which is probably what I'm going to do with it. You know, keep it out of the way so that big power isn't riding on it. And some of the longer cars as well, things like high-cube boxcars, will hit that and cause a problem. There's my burned out light bulb, by the way. Yeah, pretty well burned out. So anyway, this is the 1952 version of the 1122. Technically, the 1953 version and later are called 1122Es. Sometimes it's stamped on the bottom of the switch. But watch out for these if you're going to use them for operation. Make sure you've got a 1953 and later version. You'll have less problems with it. This one is in pretty bad shape. I'm going to have to take it apart, but I was planning on doing that anyway and rewiring it for accessory power. All 1122s, and as a matter of fact, all Lionel O27 turnouts are wired up exclusively for track power, not for accessory power, unless you get inside and modify them. So when I do this one, when I take this one apart and modify it, that'll be another video, and I will show you how that is done. In the meantime, I have this one nasty 1952 version. By the way, because of the operation issues, even though these are not exactly rare, they made thousands of these, but they're more rare than the other 1122s. Are they worth more? No, because of the operating limitations. Most people who are going to buy these are going to buy these to run on the layout, and they're going to want the later versions so they can run the bigger power and have more reliable operation with the non-derailing feature. So there it is, the 1122 1952 version. So again, I hope you like it. Like it, share it, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and come back for our next video. Until then, this is Mike signing off for Toy Train Tips and Tricks, and happy railroading.